and welcome to SuperScreen News at 8. I am Olamide Onwuka. President Muhammadu Buhari will travel to Accra, Ghana tomorrow to attend the country's 61st independence anniversary scheduled for Tuesday. The president's special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, disclosed this, said the president is the only foreign leader invited to the event holding at the Independence Square as special guest of honor. Adesina said the president will use the medium to reaffirm the long-standing warm relations between the peoples and governments of both brotherly nations. He also said President Buhari, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, and the National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, will return to Abuja after the celebrations on Tuesday. Human rights advocacy group Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has threatened to sue the Minister of Water Resources and Rural Development, Suleiman Adamu, if he fails to give an account of how the budgetary allocations to the ministry from 1999 till date were spent. The group demanded that Adamu explained why Nigeria's water and sanitation infrastructure has continued to deteriorate, with Nigerians resorting to drinking water from contaminated sources. In an open letter by its Deputy Director, Timothy Adewale, SERAP expressed serious concerns that millions of Nigerians do not have access to clean and potable water and adequate sanitation. The body issued a clause in which the letter must be replied within 14 days. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has warned against hate speeches by political aspirants and other stakeholders during political campaigns. Resident Electoral Commissioner in Imo State, Francis Ezonu, disclosed this at a one-day town hall meeting visit by Imo REC and his team to Wangele local government area of Imo State. Ezonu said the importance of a clean, violence-free and hate-free electoral campaign could not be overemphasized. He said although the time for the campaigns and elections were still in the view, there was still the need to sensitize the Imo electorate on proper behavior ahead of the elections. He also assured of adequate training and retraining of INEC and other ad hoc staff on proper conduct, handling of machines and other sensitive materials during and after the elections. In the wake of the abduction of the Dapchi Coast girls, National Commandant of the Peace Corps of Nigeria, Dixon Akor, says the organization will do a good job in solving the current security challenges of ensuring safer schools throughout the country. Akor disclosed this in Abuja while addressing journalists at the joint meeting of the Peace Corps of Nigeria Board of Trustees and the National Executive Council and Council Commandants. More details in this report.
The National Commandant of the Peace Corps of Nigeria said government's plan of engaging the service of armed men to secure schools may be counterproductive. According to him, the country is already debating on how best the nation's schools and colleges can be made safer.
Our attention was drawn to the fact that the Minister of Interior has directed the police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps to deploy their manpower to schools and colleges in the Northeast with arms. The country may not appreciate the potential damage that will accompany invading schools and colleges with arms. You know the psychological implication on our youth, and they tend to learn faster. One of the reasons why we have high level of insecurity in Nigeria today is the proliferation of arms into the society.
The National Commandant of the Peace Corps further said he has no hard feelings over President Muhammadu Buhari's decision to decline assent to the PCN bill, noting that the organization remains fully operational.
Whether Mr. President signed the bill or not, we will continue to operate as an non-governmental organization. Bearing in mind that the only essence of us approaching the National Assembly is for the organization, is for what we are doing to be given a statutory backing. so that because we protect the interests of young Nigerians, they will be able to derive funding, salaries, remuneration from the government. So as far as we are concerned now, nothing has derailed our functioning and activities as Peace Corps of Nigeria.
ACO, however, expressed optimism that the Peace Corps bill will yield positive acceptance results worthy of a presidential approval.
And to other news now, Taraba State Police Command has confirmed that 5 people were killed and several others injured in a fresh attack by Fulani communities by suspected Mambila militia in Sardauna local government area of the state. The police spokesperson in the state, David Misal, who disclosed this, said the crisis erupted in Yiwa and Yerimaru areas on Thursday following a misunderstanding between a farmer and a herder. Misal said units of mobile policemen and soldiers from the 20 Battalion in Serti were deployed to the area to maintain law and order. Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha says 24 out of the 27 local government areas in the state has ratified the ambition of his son-in-law to succeed him in office. Okorocha said this in a statement when he debunked the allegation that his son-in-law, Uche Wonsu, also doubles as his chief of staff, supervised or ordered an assault on Owerri Catholic Archbishop AJV Obenna. The incident allegedly happened during a burial service in Owerri North local government area of the state. Okorocha said in a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Sam Onwemedo, in Owerri, that his son-in-law supervised the assault on the Archbishop by members of the All Progressives Congress. It was a blackmail being orchestrated by the opposition party. A cleric and Archbishop of Owerri Catholic Diocese, Anthony Obinna, has come under severe criticism for openly canvassing support for one of the political parties. The Archbishop also drew the ire of congregation when he digressed from his sermon during a burial mass at the St. Michael Catholic Church, Ngwoma Obube, in Owerri North area of the state, and accused the state governor, Rochas Okorocha, and the All Progressives Congress for reducing the state to a laughingstock. The cleric also urged the people to ensure that the APC does not return to power in the state, adding that the party has failed to serve the people. A member of the congregation, Simon Okokwe, said the situation almost degenerated into bloody clash if not for the maturity displayed by the government officials at the event. Still on the news, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has directed candidates for the 2018 UTME to start printing their examination notification slip from Tuesday, March 6th. The board's head of Media and Information Department, Fabian Benjamin, said arrangements had been concluded for the successful conduct of the exam scheduled to hold from March 9th to 17th. Benjamin said they have successfully conducted the mock unified tertiary matriculation exam, and based on that, they can confidently assure that they are ready to go. He said the mock UTME was to expose the candidates to the process as well as test the level of preparedness of the various centers. He also warned candidates not to go to their respective centers with prohibited items such as telephones, wristwatches, pens, and other devices. You're also watching the SuperScreen News at 8. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll take some business stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and now for some business stories. The federal government has commenced moves that will ensure the utilization of fled gas by converting and supplying cooking gas to 6 million households across the country. The government had laid out a framework through which it would issue licenses to private investors, allowing them to productively utilize the volume of gas that would have been flared. The senior technical advisor to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources on Refineries and Downstream Infrastructure, Rabiu Suleiman, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the government was working to further reduce gas flaring in Nigeria. Suleiman said the federal government inaugurated the Glass Fair commercials and the program in December 2016, which was a highly priority for achieving the national mandate for gas flare by 2020. He said the program laid out a framework for the government to license gas that would otherwise have been flared to technically credible and financially sound third-party sector players. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has raised the alarm over the proliferation of fuel stations in communities with international land and coastal borders across the country. The corporation insisted that the development has energized cross-border smuggling of petrol to neighboring countries, making it difficult to sanitize the fuel supply and distribution matrix in the country. NNPC Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Ndu Gamadu, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the activities of the smugglers had led to recent observed abnormal surge in the evacuation of petrol from less than 35 million liters per day to more than 60 million liters per day, which is in sharp contrast with the established national consumption pattern in the country. Still talking business, report says there might be delay in the trial in Italy of Royal Dutch Shell and executive over alleged corruption in Nigeria involving $1.3 billion controversial sale of OPL 245 oil block. The trial, which had been due to start on March 5th, will be transferred to another court in Milan, delaying the proceedings. The Milan tribunal had earlier in the week informed lawyers that the court, which had been due to hear the trial, had too many cases and could not guarantee that it would soon do so in a reasonable period of time. The Malabo case involves the 2011 purchase by ENI and Shell of Nigeria's OPL 245 offshore oil field, reputed as one of Africa's most valuable oil blocks for about $1.3 billion. A former petroleum minister, Dan Atete, and a former attorney general, Bello Aduke, are among several Nigerians indicted in the deal, which was approved by the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. You're watching SuperScreen News at 8. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll take some foreign stories and some sports stories. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now for some foreign stories. The American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee is holding its 2018 Policy